Let's welcome back to the airwaves Glen Niles, the chairman and founder of the Down Syndrome Family Network here in Trinidad and Tobago. Morning, Glen.
Check. Morning. Oh my goodness. I must really love you all, Hott 93 people. Trinidad and Tobago, good morning. I had to rush down here. Warren just made me break all rules. Rush down here to make sure I got to the station. Because, technical problems now. We had to get past that.
Yeah, we had to get past that. That's not a problem at all. So now that I have him in person, I can ask him even more. So we'll get to the body walk in just a second. But as the chairman and founder of the family network here in Trinidad and Tobago, how many years now?
Well, we were formed in officially, the paperwork in 2011, but we were launched in March the 21st, 2012. And that was the very first day commemorating United Nations World Down Syndrome Day. So our launch coincided with that first day. So that day anniversary is our birthday every year. So I mean, we can't forget it.
So about
World
11,
Down Syndrome
around
Day.
11 years now and going strong.
Yeah, and hopefully getting a lot stronger.
What was the vision? Take us back though to 11 years ago. The vision behind forming the network in the first place.
Well, when my son was born,
How is Tyrese, by the way?
Yeah, he's great. Everybody, they posted a picture with Tyrese and I going on Hott 93. So, everybody was looking out there. They want to hear Tyrese on the mic. Because when we give him a mic, he says whatever he wants. So everybody is looking forward to it. But unfortunately, Tyrese is not with me today. So you all will have to come down to the body walk and see him. Yeah, but when Tyrese was born, just that hopeless, lost feeling and not getting the information you want.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it here. And I started looking at organizations outside and I found that, well, they've been around for a lot longer, some of them over 60 years. So I aligned myself with them, started following them, started attending their conferences. And the main reason was to educate myself. But when I went out to their conference and I met people with Down syndrome, who I could speak to just how I'm speaking to you. I don't have to speak slower, I don't have to use sign languages. And I want to know, not sign language, but gestures. I want to know, well, how is this possible?
Yeah.
Because coming from Trinidad, I didn't know anybody with Down syndrome like that. I didn't know anybody with Down syndrome who could actually have a conversation and do anything at all. The people who I saw, the limited amount of people I saw growing up,
right?
They were just at home. They didn't do anything. Some of them couldn't speak. They'll just be making these songs and stick there with their tongues hanging out. And I basically thought that was the future for my son. That I will have to take care of him until he dies or until I die, and then somebody else take over. That was it. That to me, that was my reality, and that was so wrong. When I went out there, so. I was confused.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, so why are they different? Is it a different strain of Down syndrome, or we have the worst strain down in the Caribbean here? But then I would see some people like the ones I'm accustomed seeing. But then not all of them are like that. And there are some even who their cognitive level, because Down syndrome causes a cognitive delay.
Right.
That makes it slower for them to learn, but it doesn't mean that they can't learn. But some people whose cognitive level was actually very high, and they have Down syndrome. So it's just like, it's a broader spectrum, almost similar to autism,
right,
where you could get people from on one side of the scale to the next. But the mitigating factor was really early intervention. If you don't start that learning process early, then you would have failed that person. And that is what we basically have been doing, because we had a mindset that people with Down syndrome and other intellectual disabilities cannot learn like the neurotypical persons.
Right.
So we wouldn't even try to teach them certain things. Because as far as we are concerned, that's how they are. They're special and they could only do this. So it's very limiting in what they could do. Not knowing that we are the ones who are limiting them. And so meeting people with Down syndrome, having a conversation with them, seeing them every year when I go up to the conference, hanging out with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard for me to explain this to people who haven't experienced it. You know, a couple of the parents actually went to the conference and saw it for themselves, because I come like Christopher Columbus coming back and telling you, hey, I went to dinner with some young adults with Down syndrome, and we were discussing the Democratic election between Hillary and Obama. I mean, I always tell this story because it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
How you could even sit down and think about sitting down at a dinner table. First, they all ordered their own meals. I didn't have to order for them. They were all over 21, so they ordered alcohol with their meals.
Right.
They knew which wine to order with which meal, and they were discussing it. There were 4 women and 3 men.
Right.
The waiter did not treat them any differently.
Good.
Spoke to them just how he is speaking to me. And I think he had to speak to me about twice, because I was just sitting there with my mouth open.
Yeah, in awe. Yeah.
In awe, looking at them. I wasn't even part of the conversation most of the time. I was just looking at them because I still couldn't believe these people have Down syndrome. Look at them. You know, out to dinner, normal. The waiter not treating them any differently. The other people coming and they engaging with each other. And that debate between who was the better presidential candidate, Democratic candidate, that between Hillary and Obama, that was a very lively debate. Of course, you know, the girls was 4 against 3.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump in with the fellas, but I really didn't know what Obama's stance was on disability issues, and that is what they were discussing. I mean, they knew exactly what he stood for, and the girls knew exactly what Hillary stood for.
She stood for, yeah.
Yeah, and so coming back, I was like, nah, we had to play catch up. We have to. So we formed the network, and it's starting to get people to change that old paradigm that we get so accustomed to, because we are so firmly entrenched in what is called the charity model of dealing with people with disabilities, where you treat them like charity, basically. And the whole world is going towards the more social model, which is more inclusive.
Right.
We haven't even got to the medical model, because the world went to the medical model first, where they try to use science and medicine and technology to stop the disability. So like even right now, there's still a lot of money being pumped into research to define what actually causes Down syndrome. We know that this 21st chromosome splits into 3 and the person has 47 chromosomes instead of 46, but nobody knows why it happens.
Okay.
Right? So millions of dollars are being spent into research to do that. And I'm always thinking, you know, every time you hear these statistics, and I go to the conference, they have a medical segment of the conference only for doctors on it. But no, I'm a Trini. I find some way to slip in.
that you can learn, yeah.
Yeah, so I could understand what these doctors are they coming about. We had one doctor, he was with the Ministry of Health, Dr. Sundar Nidhi. I think he attended 1 year, so that was good. But and I'm hearing they're spending all this money in research trying to stop it, instead of use that same money in, how about empowering the people living with Down syndrome right now. And they are doing the same thing with autism now. You see it if you Google it, you'll see it. Oh, they found out certain things that, well, you know, all these things they can't tell until some WHO or one of the other
recognized bodies
come with it. You know, they say don't use this, don't use that, don't use plastic. So yeah, you're hearing all these things that will cause the child with autism.
Let's fast forward now from the 11 years ago. Let's fast forward now to the body walk. Was the body walk instituted, or was the body walk started basically at the beginning of everything, or did that come into play a few years later on the road?
It actually started in the beginning. So the first body walk was in 2012.
Yeah. And
it was started in 1995 by National Down Syndrome Society. They're based in New York, and they walked in Central Park. So it's a short walk, just about a mile, and everybody will come out, and they started calling it the body walk. So for United Nations World Down Syndrome Day, they have a, one of those big screens in New York. What do you call that? Times Square.
Times Square, right?
Right.
Yeah.
One of those big screens there, and you have the opportunity to send in a picture of your child, and it will be posted on the big screen. During that period for Body Walk and in October. So Tyrese featured a couple times, sent in his picture there. I was never in New York to get to stand there in Times Square and see it. Yeah, but family up there did, and they sent the videos to me. Right, so they started it in 1995, and now it's spread to almost every state and in 12 other countries do the Body Walk. Well, we have the franchise for it here in Trinidad and Tobago, and well, I think nobody else has picked it up in the Caribbean yet, but we have formed alliances with other groups in the Caribbean and hoping that they also pick it up as well.
So 22nd of October, here in Trinidad and Tobago. Where is it going to be taking place though?
Nelson Mandela Park.
Nelson Mandela Park.
Right.
So it's a walk around the park?
It's a walk around the park, and then we finish when we first started, we used to finish in Queen's Park Oval. Now we are finishing in QRC.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so we finish in QRC for a family fun day. There's music, there's artists, and there's a whole lot of fun events, for the whole family, for everybody. This is not only for persons with family members with Down syndrome, autism, or disability. This is for the public. This is for everybody to come out, because that's the whole thing about the Body Walk. It's for everybody to come and socialize together. That's the only way we'll break all these social barriers.
Yes.
I mean, we are trying, but it keeps getting worse because some people actually likes being segregated, and it works for them. But to me, we'll have a more compassionate society if we actually meet people with disabilities instead of just reading about them and thinking of them as a charity case. Because in some instances, you realize, they are not just a charity case.
Yeah, correct.
They're just like me. They think just like me. They act just like me. It's just that they might be in a wheelchair, or they might be otherwise with a physical disability. But we see persons who are deaf or hearing impaired. You'll see them dancing the music. They'll stand, they'll put their hand on the speaker, and they will feel the vibrations. We see people who are blind or visually impaired, same thing. They want to be part of society, but we are the ones who exclude them.
Glenn, start time.
Right, so everybody know we like to run too, right? So we started the Body Walk, was going successfully for years. The very first walk had over 600 people.
Okay.
And it grew, I think it was in 2015 or 2016, it grew to about 1,300 people, making it the largest inclusive event in the Caribbean.
Nice.
Yeah, and then afterwards we had some rain, so we were thinking about, wow, October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month internationally. We say like, hey boy, this rainy season, like we might have to change this date, boy, because we got hit hard with rain for a couple of years, and then COVID hit. But just prior to that, we started the 5K because everybody wanted to do a 5K too.
Right.
So we have the 5K. So the runners who want to run could register for the 5K, and then the people who want to walk in solidarity, step in for human rights of persons with disabilities and Down syndrome, could register for the Body Walk. So the 5K is starting at 7 a.m.
Right.
at Nelson Mandela Park, and the Body Walk is starting at 8 a.m.
Okay, right. Okay, so 5K at 7, Body Walk at 8. Nice.
Right, and well, all the information, as I said, you're registering online through Buffer Sports. So the link for it is on our Facebook page, Down Syndrome Family Network. On Instagram, it's on LinkedIn, and well, a lot of people who are taking part, they're also sharing it as well, sharing the flyer, sharing the link. So if you look at it, share it, get your friends, get everybody to come out and have a fun time. And it's just bringing society together and saying, hey, it's time for a change. And we are getting there, because through the work that we've been doing and what other organizations that we've partnered with have been doing as well, the government is drafting a bill, the very first bill, disabilities bill in Trinidad and Tobago. So that is important for us. That is a real turning point for persons with disabilities here, actually having an act that will help to support, empower, and protect them.
This is definitely things that we can look forward to, and we can help basically bring it to fruition here in Trinidad and Tobago. So Glenn, we want to thank you, of course, for spending some time with us here at Hot 93 this morning.